Well, here we go. What is happening, mediocre people of YouTube? Stop the Coming Civil War. Stop the Coming Civil War. That was a book written by Michael Savage probably around 2013, I think. And it basically described exactly, almost to a T, what is going on in the United States currently. You guys, you know, I did a couple of shorts recently. I was pretty fired up, and it's hard not to be fired up because, you know, we are in this civil war in the United States where you have the two political parties leading the charge. And I suppose that's all fine, and differences are a good thing. Differences are good, you know, even though we're told, oh no, everybody should be equal by the same people who subscribe to one or the other political party. But right now, I mean, what's very irritating is that we have, you know, a political party. Oh, I didn't see, you guys fell over a little bit. We have a political party, and the people who subscribe to that political party, you know, it's about 50% of the nation, right? You know, roughly. You're looking at, you know, 50% Democrat, 50% Republican, and that's fine. Where the problem comes in is where one party is actively trying to destroy the American people, undercut American society, because they're angry. That's the only reason. If you look at, and of course I'm talking about the Democrats, if you look at people who, you know, claim to be Democrats, or they don't support Republicans or whatever, they're very angry people, extremely angry. And they subscribe to a party who says, you know, Trump bad, and then you got 50% of the population go, yeah. You know, but they don't really have any arguments. And then when they do have arguments, the argument is against our own nation. Right now, what looks to be happening is that this administration, the current administration, President Trump, for the first time in a very long time, is putting our country first and saying, wait a minute, you know, we help people all over the world. The United States helps people all over the world. And right now, then that's fine. And we want to do that. We like to do that. But right now, we need to take care of our own people first. We got to say, oh, wait a minute, you know, we got to take care of our own first. And you know, people here in the United States are getting swept aside, and you know, and they're hurting. You know, people right here in the U.S. need help. We need to help our own people before we can start helping other countries again. And you have this, and it's amazing to me, these angry people who, like I say, they like to consider themselves Democrats, I guess. And they're like, no, we don't want to put our country first. They're actively fighting against themselves. You know, I was thinking this morning, I said, you know, if the Trump administration tomorrow today. Let's say President Trump makes an announcement today and says, listen, here's the deal. By the end of this year, every U.S. citizen who was born here is going to be a multimillionaire. You would have 50% of the population saying, no, I don't want to be a multimillionaire. Like, that's really where we're at. And I hope people from other countries watch my videos, because, whoa, that's literally where we're at as a nation. You've got people blindly following political parties, and not just the Democrats. You've got people blindly following either party, Republican or Democrat. For the first time in a long time, I can't really point out anything the Democrats have done that I can support right now. And usually I can find, ways to support either party. There's I'm not one or the other. It's gotten so bad at this point that, it's like literally one party has the American people fighting against themselves. And basically saying, no, we don't want to put our country first. We want to what happens if we put everybody else first, like we have been? And then you wonder why we're where we're at. I did want to comment on, the Zelensky thing from the other day. I thought that was great. I thought it was fantastic. Anytime I hear people are appalled by something, I usually go dig into it and find out what happened. And right away, I had heard somebody, whether it was in my family or whoever, they were all like, oh man, there was a shouting match between Zelensky and Trump, and they were like all appalled by it. And I'm like, oh, good, because that's what we need, We can't continue to just, and then it's especially when, this president of Ukraine is, he's planning on this war going on for a long time. That was his words, and no, we're not, I think the president of Ukraine, what would be the ultimate thing for him would for the United States to commit our own troops to Ukraine. And that's never going to happen. We're not doing that. As our president said, you are gambling with World War III here. And there has to be a solution. So in the end, the Ukrainian president wants whatever he wants, and he doesn't seem to want to budge. And that's just unbelievable to me, because in the end, he's going to have to. And Vladimir Putin in Russia, he's going to have to, there's going to be things that Russia's going to have to give up. And there's going to be things that Ukraine's going to have to give up. And they're going to have to find a happy medium in between where, maybe they're not totally satisfied, but hey, enough bloodshed, enough killing, It really is terrible when you see what's taking place over there, where, at this point, they're literally forcing people, older people too, not young men. I mean, young men too, but now they're even trying to force people, older people, to go fight in a war that they don't want to fight in. The Ukrainian people are tired, man. And listen, we don't know over here in the United States. We don't know the whole story, okay? We don't know. All we know is the information we can dig up. And if you're watching mainstream media and you're being lied to, basically everything the mainstream media tells you, you can basically just turn it around, and that's probably closer to the truth. As a very wise man and good friend once said, Mr. Elmo B, whatever the government says to do, I usually do the opposite, and I'm usually right. So, that being said, we don't really know how the Ukrainian people feel about this whole war. What we do know is that, these parts of Ukraine that Russia has basically taken back belong to Russia for a long period of time, hundreds of years. And those areas are Russian-speaking areas. The people who live in those areas consider themselves Russian. And, so there's more to this story that we over here in the United States don't understand. Only if you lived in Ukraine and grew up there and lived there your whole life, you would know, what the actual story is. But Zelensky, boy, he sure seems like an arrogant prick. I mean, people say Trump's arrogant. I mean, this guy, he's just been I guess that's once you get used to it, because for the last 4 years, he's just been handed bundles of cash, without question. Not like the Europeans are doing, where they're loaning Ukraine the money. We're just handing over bundles of cash to Ukraine, weapons and everything else, and with no plan to repay it, nothing. That's what Zelensky is accustomed to, is just coming to the United States and going back home with bags full of cash, because we're so stupid. And he knows that. President Trump made a statement, and I kind of wish he wouldn't go so far, but at the same time, I'm glad he does. He made a couple of statements how stupid Joe Biden was, and you saw for yourself. Zelensky's answer was, well, hey, you guys elected him. He was your president. I mean, he knows, and he thinks, the American people are stupid because all this money's coming from us, So I'm sure that they think we're absolute idiots over here. We'll just do whatever we'll do, We're going to support Ukraine. We're going to support them, and without question. And we're just a bunch of fucking idiots over here. I'm sure that's how they feel about us. I'm sure that's how Zelensky feels about us. But for him to, when he brought out those pictures, this was all, he was playing the American media, Now, what took place, what meetings took place before he met with President Trump are also up for grabs. And we do know that he met with Democrat leaders, including Chuck Schumer. And rumor has it is that they encouraged him to reject the things that President Trump was going to offer. That's the rumor right now. Whether that's the truth, I don't know, but it sounds pretty plausible to me, given the current state of affairs and the political climate in our country. It sounds pretty plausible. Would not surprise me to hear, especially people like Chuck Schumer, who, honestly, that man should be in prison. He should be in prison. There's a lot of them. And I hate to say it, but, a lot of Democrats who are just, like I said, I mean, they've got, you've got a Democrat Party, and you've got, 50% of the United States who supports that Democrat Party. And, they are against our country, They're like, no, we don't want more wealth in our country. We don't want, how could you, America first? And they're like, no, we don't want America to be first. I do. And we need to put our citizens first. And I get really wound up about this because I know people. I know people who struggle with health care and other things. But what's always really bothered me is veterans. And I think probably my entire life, I've always said, if you're a veteran, a military veteran in the United States who served in wartime, you should not have to worry financially for the rest of your life. We should be taking care of these people, making sure they get a full military pension, and making sure they have the best health care we can offer, okay? I've always said that about our veterans. Because war is a funny thing, man. Don't get it twisted. War is an economy within itself. Countries declare war in order to acquire wealth, in order to acquire money, you know. War is an economy. Every single thing that you outfit a soldier, you know, every single thing, their outfit, it's all money, you know. How much does it cost to outfit a soldier, you know? A lot. Way more than it should, you know. But that's what it is. That's, you know, war is a massive economy. So, you know, and then when, let's say you're Ukraine and you're in this war with Russia, and, you know, and then you have a country like the United States who's just so stupid, they'll just blindly hand over cash to you. I mean, what the hell? So yeah, I question all of this, and I really hope the people in our country, everyone, I can't imagine anyone who doesn't want to put the United States first. It just baffles me. I can't imagine any citizen, you know, not wanting to put our country first. Because every other country, believe me, they're putting themselves first. Ukraine's putting itself first. Russia's putting itself first. Every nation around the world puts themselves first. And then, you know, when we even speak like that, you know, you've got a Democrat Party that says, no, we shouldn't do that. How can that be? So it really is. The United States really is in a civil war. And it's being led by the two parties, the Democrats and Republicans. And right now, for every citizen, I mean, the Democrats are the opposition. They are opposed to all of us doing well and having a good life. They are opposed to that. They don't want you to have a good life. How can that be? You know, how can you even be a part of this country, let alone represent people in this country? These are your representatives. Your Democrat representatives who are out there right now rallying against you having a good life. Campaigning against you, a U.S. citizen, making it and having a good life. And you don't get that. And some of them have, because I've seen some of the people on YouTube who are just staunch leftist, you know, communist even. They're Democrats, but they're really socialist and communist. And even them, they've shut their mouths at this point, because how can you argue? How can you argue with an administration that says, hey man, we want to put our country first, we want to see everyone doing well? So it has closed the mouths of many, but people need to get on board as well, and understand that, you know, this president that we have, President Trump, I really do believe that, you know, he wants to see all of us doing well. I think he wants to share in the wealth. I think he wants to see everyone doing well, and I don't see how you can't agree with that. But you know, you'll do what you do. Peace out.